We have some breaking news tonight right now involving Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen. NBC News is reporting now that according to our source familiar with the situation, Michael Cohen has signed a proffer agreement with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, and that agreement stipulates that he will cooperate in their investigation of the Trump Organization. According to this source, the DA's prosecutors who met with Cohen in prison late last month are investigating whether the president's company falsified business records. And last February, Cohen shared several checks, there they are, signed by the president and other company executives to reimburse him for the payoff he made to silence Stormy Daniels on Trump's behalf. We know all about that story. Cohen testified that the reimbursements he received were disguised by the president and his company as payments for routine legal fees.
The payments were designed to be paid over the course of 12 months, and it was declared to be a retainer for services that would be provided for the year of 2017.
Was there a retainer agreement?
There is no retainer agreement.
Based on your conversations with him, is there any doubt in your mind that President Trump knew exactly what he was paying for?
There is no doubt in my mind.
Right now, I'm joined by Joyce Vance, former federal prosecutor. Let's talk about Michael Cohen's cooperation here. He has sort of a point of view, it's fair to say, about Trump and what he thinks of Trump and what they did together, sneaky, dirty, et cetera, the payoffs. Where could there be a criminal violation here by the president in regard to how he paid off Stormy Daniels?
So it's early times in this investigation, Chris, but what prosecutors seem to be focusing on is the idea that there would have been false business records that would have been submitted. Normally, that's a misdemeanor, but if you submit false business records in an effort to conceal up another crime, here presumably a federal crime involving campaign finance fraud, then it becomes a felony and you're really in hot water.
Because no one, it seems to me, would write into a accounting document for the IRS or anyone else, paid off porn star for a night in wherever the hotel was. It doesn't seem you'd ever put any of that kind of record together. So you'd come up with something like what entertainment costs. I mean, what would you do? How would you file that kind of information? This is a lot of money we're talking about here. It's $250,000. He paid off to, in fact, he paid it up to almost $400,000. He packed it up there, as they say, to pay tax costs and everything else to make Michael Cohen happy.
Right. By the time they paid Cohen, the $130,000 payment for the payoff money had turned into $400,000. And what we're hearing in this testimony is that there was an effort to convert that into legal fees, and that was likely how Trump's organization reported it in business records as legal fees, when in fact it wasn't legal fees. It was hush money. So that would be the gravamen of the offense.
Well, here he is at sort of the tail end in many ways. If we do have impeachment, I'm wrong. But if it's the tail end of this whole operation of going after Trump, it seems to me that the Manhattan DA, that's a political office. That's an elective office. Cy Vance, the son of a former Secretary of State. Of course, we all know Cyrus Vance. This case could be a big case if you're taking the president of the United States down into a criminal matter. The question I have, I guess, as a non-lawyer, what's the penalty for this kind of case?
So that really depends on how it's ultimately structured. If they were able to make some sort of a tax charge here, which we don't know if they have tax records, we could be looking at a lengthy violation for a felony. It's certainly not a misdemeanor. The felony crime is a serious one. It carries a lot of collateral consequences, but most significantly is the threat that there is jail time involved, and any amount of jail time in the state system in New York would be very unpleasant for the President of the United States.
Let's talk about Michael Cohen. Can he get good time out of this? Can he get relief on his own sentence if he plays ball with the DA's office?
You know, Michael Cohen is in custody on federal prison. It's not unheard of for federal prosecutors to agree to give someone who's in their custody good time, or rather time off of their sentence, in exchange for work with state prosecutors or local prosecutors. But it's not usual. I would expect that to happen more if Cohen's cooperation had been with federal prosecutors. And of course, we know the origin of this investigation that's happening out of DA Vance's office is the fact that federal prosecutors in Manhattan terminated any further investigation into the allegations that were raised by Cohen, whether that was campaign fraud or a look into the Trump Organization in July, then suddenly we learn prosecutors from Cy Vance's office took the trip up to Otisville, a couple of hours from Manhattan, a month later in August. So it seems that the two are related in that way. Whether Cohen's getting credit in the federal system, I think, looks unlikely at this point.
I'm so glad we have you on this short notice tonight with this story breaking so late today. Joyce Vance, thank you for your expertise. And I have, just as a witness to this whole saga, it's amazing if what it all ends up, if there are all these months of following the bad behavior of this president and his people who worked with him in the bad behavior, like Michael Cohen, ends up in a case in the New York District Attorney's Office. Wow.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.